Hi everybody and welcome to Braddock Media's first toy and collectible review of 2017. On this week's episode, I get to showcase this amazing Spider-Man statue from Sideshow Collectible and Toys. This is the exclusive edition. On this week's episode, I'm going to cover over the box art. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Spider-Man franchise. We're going to weigh in on Homecoming and kind of talk a little bit about the rumors circling around Zendaya. We're also going to go over a breakdown of the statue, full video pans of all the different sides of him, talk about the different artists that worked on this. So stay tuned and let's check out this box art.
Oh.
So this week's box art is definitely not as detailed packed as last week's Captain America versus Red Skull diorama, but it is comic book all the way. I love the front cover. They actually did an animated version of the statue, which is great because normally they put the actual statue on there. And when you have that kind of comic book background and a real life picture, it just kind of distracts from each other. It's just organically very beautiful. It looks like a big comic book piece. It's really great. This would be a really cool print for them to do as well. On the front of it, it has Venom. On the side, we'll just kind of jump to the side here. So it has Mary Jane, a few of the Avengers. This whole box art is very Venom Carnage heavy because they are doing statues for those two, as well as Black Cat's on here. She came out, and their bases are very similar to the explosions. They all kind of will work together, and they'll be pretty epic. I mean, the Green Goblin they did, which I really hope to get on this show, is incredible. As you can see, you got little, I'll show you in the breakdown, little pumpkin bombs in here, which are really cool. Back of it, again, very Venom. I do love the webbing that's going across. I think it's really beautiful. This isn't really a designated storyline. There's a lot of repeats in here. It would have been really cool if this was a comic book that kind of shuffled all the way along that you could kind of read. Would have been a really nice touch. And down here we've got Cyborg, we got Captain America, we got some Avengers. So I noticed that there's a lot of the statues on this box that have been coming out this past bit. So it'll be interesting to see if some of those also come out. A Mary Jane would be really cool, especially whoever has designed the artwork for this amazing Spider-Man. I would love to see them actually pull off a Mary Jane, would be really cool. So now that we've gone over the box art and shown you all the different sides of that, I'm not going to go into Spider-Man facts this time. I'm going to weigh in on the franchise. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those movies and get into Homecoming and talk a little bit more about that. So here we go. Okay, let's start off with movie number one. Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Green Goblin storyline. I did enjoy this movie. I'm not a fan of what they did with Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. I think they could have, I don't think it's her fault. I think it's just the way that they wrote her character was a little too subdued and a little too mousy. I definitely needed more of a strong, kick-ass, badass Mary Jane, and that one kind of failed to come in. I definitely like the Green Goblin storyline. I wish that that hadn't been done already so that Homecoming would be approaching that right now. But now let's go on to movie number two. I love Doc Ock. He's a really great character and a really strong villain. I think they should have just stayed on that kind of focus. I don't think they should have tied in. A lot of comic book movies really die off for a lot of us fans because they're too villain heavy and there's too much storyline going on to a 2-hour movie. It's too packed in and there's no need for it. You could have just, they can just stretch them out and make more movies and just showcase on one villain. The third one was the worst. It was just terrible. I Topher Grace as Venom. I don't know who was casting that. It was a terrible choice. He was just not Eddie Brock on any level. No matter how much he worked out and tried to buff himself up, he's still that dorky guy from that 70s show, and it just didn't fly with any of us. That is such a strong character where a lot of us are such major fans, and they just ruined it so badly. And then throwing Sandman in there, they just didn't need it. So then we go on to Andrew Garfield in the next movies that they ended up making. The first movie was really great. I loved the Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone. I think it was a really great casting choice. Obviously, they had their real-life romantic interest going on, so it really kind of showed that love interest there, which I thought was really beautiful. I just don't think they kind of nailed it in the second one. I didn't actually watch it at all. It just looked so bad. Electro looked terrible and so CGI'd, and the Rhino in that metal costume it just didn't fly. And again, too villain heavy. It just was not necessary. They could have put way more of a budget into Electro. They could have made him look way more cooler than they did. Jamie Foxx is a great actor. He's incredible. It's not that I have anything against him. They just gave him a crap ass CGI looking outfit. It was a bomb. It did not work for me at all. It was just so terrible. So, I mean, Lizard in the first one, pretty good, actually. I kind of really liked it, even though it was pretty CGI'd. I think they played it off really well. So now we're on to Homecoming. Homecoming, I'm so excited for. Michael Keaton as the Vulture, obviously not the strongest character I think they could have opened with, but again, they're trying not to recopy and do what they're doing. They're wanting to give a new life to it. And Michael Keaton is so incredible. I loved him in Batman Returns. I'm glad to see him come back to his comic book roots in movies. That's going to be exciting pair off. The new actor, Mr. Holland, who is playing Spider-Man, sorry, I can't actually remember his first name. He's super cute and adorable in the, what a great cameo in the Avengers. I think that they really kind of like put him in there great. Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I kind of like this younger, hotter version of Aunt May. I think it's really good. I'm interested to see if the Vulture ends up aging her in in this movie coming up with Homecoming, because that would be kind of an interesting way to show how, Aunt May kind of got a little bit older, or they're going to keep her looking young and hip and hot, which I'm okay with. We're going to get into that, why things that bug me about comic book trolls and people on the internet that don't really know what they're talking about here in a second when I talk about Zendaya and we go into a little bit more about that. But this movie, I think, is the most accurate portrayal of Spider-Man and his beginning and his origin story. I'm glad that they kind of already addressed Uncle Ben dying. What a awful character. Like, they've killed him off in so many movies, and it's just so heartbreaking to watch. And I think at this point I'm ready to just kind of leave that in the backstory and just kind of had that tie in. I know it's a super important moment for Spider-Man, but we've kind of addressing that it's already happened. So now we're going to go into the Zendaya rumors and everything that's going on about her playing Mary Jane. So I need to start off by saying, anybody who has an issue with this, you need to lift your knuckles off the ground, because Baby Dragon, really, like, having a woman of color or mixed race playing a character in a movie today is normal. And the reason for that is you need to pull those knuckles, as I said, off the ground, get your Neanderthal butt down to a comic book store and educate yourself. Because there are multi-universes when it comes to comics, and you're obviously not a super comic book fan, or you're just a super bigot and you need to get over it. Because Zendaya is actually an incredible actress. She's a great singer, and she is a massively beautiful human being if you actually look into her. I'm really excited. I hope she is playing Mary Jane. I really would love this person who's already an incredible role model to become that, kick-ass woman for all these young girls to kind of look up to, especially, and learn about comics. I mean, she could be so amazing. But yes, go down to a comic book store and educate yourself. Every comic, DC, Marvel, doesn't matter who it is, they all have alternative universes, and they're infinite. Go watch Doctor Strange. Infinite amounts of everything. Any character. Spider-Man can be a woman, he can be black, he can be, she can be anyone. There's no rules on gender or race or any of that kind of stuff in the actual comic book world, because it could be, diving into the Flash and going into Earth 1 or Earth 2. It's all going to be a little bit different. Everyone's going to exist somewhere, but everything changes. That's my kind of, weigh in on Zendaya, Mary Jane, talking about all the different rumors. And I think it's just so sad that we live in such an age today that people are actually having an issue with this. I mean, get over it. It's the comic book world. It's supposed to change. It's supposed to evolve. If you've read comics and you actually are a fan, you would know this by now. So either A, you're not educated in comics, or B, you're a bigot and you don't like change. Either or, learn a little bit more so we don't have this kind of awful, backlash against such an amazing young woman. So that's my 2 cents when it comes to the Spider-Man franchise and a little bit more about that. Let's go over and learn about the breakdown of the statue and see all the different pieces that it comes with. Now we're here at Breakdown. I've had 2 Spider-Mans on the show so far. The first one obviously came out I think a decade ago. So to get him online, he's close to $2,000 plus. hard to find, especially nowadays. There's not a lot of them out there. This one here, though, is pretty recent and he's beautiful. And they both have their pros and cons, but this one is so incredibly detailed. I love the airbrushing. It's just so nice. And I mean, obviously, if you're a Venom and Carnage fan, there are Venom and Carnages coming out. So that was the kind of key factor to buying that other one, is the trio of them that work together. This one, there's so many pairings that you can do with them. You've got Green Goblin, you've got Venom, you've got Carnage, Black Cat. There's so many different ones coming out that it's a little bit overwhelming. If you're a Spider-Man collector, you could have one really badass display when it comes to all of them along a row. Would just be so intensely beautiful. The reason this is an exclusive statue is there's two different pieces that make up that exclusive factor. One is the hand that you can see right here in this picture. It has the web coming out of it. I think it's a little bit phallic. I don't think they could have really done anything else with the web to make it not look like a jizz shot, but I don't know, I just don't think it really works for me at all. The exclusive head, though, is pretty badass. I love it. He's got that kind of smirky, cheeky Spider-Man kind of wink going on. Out of the two, I would definitely probably have the regular hand, which you'll see in a photo here. Mine unfortunately broke. It wasn't Sideshow's fault. I did get this off eBay. Unfortunately, the seller didn't package him correctly and one of the fingers busted. That hand I would definitely have, and then I would have the alternative head. The next piece on this is the rest of the body is one solid piece. It connects down here right by the hand, which is just slides in a slot, a big metal peg and polystone piece. I'm pretty sure from the looks of the angle of the peg that it goes straight up and into his head. It's not going anywhere. This is one really well put together piece, but I love the angles and I love the detail on it. It's so beautiful. The next piece on this is this beam here is one solid piece, except for this here comes off. So we'll just kind of look at the beam here in this photo. Really great paint job on it. They made it look old, greened, and rusted. It's definitely very, I love it. I think it looks really great. This piece here that I'm holding is obviously just a crane part that they slide on there. So you can have it on your statue, you can have it off your statue. I think for me, it adds a lot more balance when it comes to the sway and look of the statue and the way everything's going. It makes the beam falling look like it's actually falling, which is a nice touch because they didn't just have it swaying. If they did, it probably would have wrecked or hit some of the statue pieces here. The next piece after that, of course, is the base, which is really beautiful orange detailing. Love the pumpkin bombs, which you can see in this picture here. They're so cool. I'm rubbing my hands. I'm super freezing. Sorry, the heat is broken in my studio right now, so I'm super cold, which is why I'm talking a little bit rambling fast here as well. Now that we've kind of done that, let's do some really up-close shots. I want to get a little bit more detail in here of his head and his arm and his torso area. The ab definition, the color, the sheen is so beautiful on this piece of this statue. And we're just going to go down the front and then we're going to go down the back. Getting closer down to the hand and where it attaches into the base here, as you can see, again, the rivets are really beautifully done. Everything is put together really nicely. It's just really, really beautiful detailing, and it's so action orientated, which is really great. And hard to get in a lot of statues. They've really nailed a lot of the expression and pose on this one. Another good shot of the front of the base here. Only thing I wish they had done is I wish they had put more pumpkin bomb action on the front versus the back. I get it for the explosions and the way that it's kind of, pushing and wafting it. In a way also doesn't make sense because he's falling backwards and the bombs are blowing up that way. So maybe a little bit, but they could have done a little bit, I don't know, a little bit different. Let's turn him around and take a look at the back of the statue. Pretty badass. I think it's just so, his arch, his you can see from the back of him here, so beautifully done. You just can't get better detailing. The head, of course, the seam on the head is actually could have been a little bit better. There is a little bit of a gap in there that you can see. Usually Sideshow's actually really good at making sure that they line up on that one, but this exclusive head doesn't quite line up as nicely as it should. I guess I'll show you that in a picture here right now. You'll see the side shot of the neck. Again, going down here, I think that's great. But as you can see down in this shot, the pumpkin bombs and the orange glow and the way that the explosions are happening are really cool, and I would have loved to have seen that more on the front of the statue, because when you're showcasing them in your house, you're probably not ever going to see that unless you have them on some kind of crazy rotating stand where you can kind of see everything in one go. Thankfully, we are getting a rotating stand here in 2017 on the show, which will make doing videoing a little bit easier. So now that you've seen all those pieces, I'm going to slide him back around to the front. He's pretty solid. I mean, as you notice, turning him, he's not swaying, he's not flopping. He's very well balanced. The base is really strong, sturdy. It's not going anywhere. This statue is worth the money. It's worth getting. It is. If you are an Amazing Spider-Man fan, you are not going to be disappointed in this one at all. It's going to go with so many awesome, cool characters that are coming out. And as I said earlier in the box art, it'll be really cool to see if they've got a Mary Jane coming in here, possibly a few more Avengers, old school looking Avengers, which is what I kind of like. I want it to go back more to this retro Spider-Man look. I think it's so beautiful. And of course, Homecoming's coming out, so I'm sure we'll get some statues there. I'm very excited for that movie. This is a great piece. So now that we've gone over all the different pieces of it, we're going to get some full pan videos of the statue, and we're going to learn about the different artists who worked on this, because there's actually quite a few of them, and we will see you in the shoutouts. This group of artists definitely gets awarded the term amazing for this amazing Spider-Man. When it came to the design of this statue, we had Martin Cannell, Ian McDonald, Zach Rowan. In sculpt, we had Martin Cannell again, Guillermo Barberio, Avanish Henge, Alfred Paredes. Adam Smith was in charge of mold and cast. Bernardo Esquivel and Anthony Mezquez did an incredible job on the paint. If you are an Amazing Spider-Man collector, this statue is definitely one for your collection. If you enjoyed this first video of 2017, make sure to click below and subscribe. I don't want you to miss out on more toy and collectible reviews here on Braddock Media. Leave a comment in the comment section, give a thumbs up, and I will see you all next week.